there's a common theme I've noticed in a number of the different business owners, like law firm owners that I've talked about and interviewed, but the having someone that you can bounce ideas off of, like a coach. Mm-hmm. Did you continue to work with a coach afterwards, like after you made the jump?
Yeah, for a little bit I did, and still reach out here and there. In terms of bouncing ideas off of each other, I've really found community in terms of just like the solo small firm network within the Broward Bar, but also in the American Immigration Lawyers Association. So I'm part of like the Federal Congressional Committee, and was pulled into that actually by my very first employers at a law school when I first did immigration, who I've stayed in touch with. But through that, have met other really good immigration attorneys that, like, the night before a trial, when I had like a last minute question, I was able to call up one of them and be like, hey, I need you to talk me off the ledge, or like just bounce this idea off of, and they're more than happy to have a 30-minute conversation with me just to like be like, no, you're good. Like, yes, that's, you're on the right track, or no, don't worry about that. So I've been able to bounce ideas off of them. So again, back to your point of community. Yeah,
it's not just like, I'm not saying like a business coach, but like just even having those people, like people that you can reach out to. It's like, I've been trying cases. I've tried a lot of cases. I got the certifications. I've got big verdicts. But even my last trial, I reached out to people that I trust for thoughts, right? To bounce ideas off of a lot. I'm trying to think like trial strategy. Most of the stuff I was handling, I don't think I reached out to too many people for, I did have like a consultant. I brought in a jury consultant, someone who, like, I try a lot of cases, but a jury consultant who's in the courtroom 100 times a year, 200 times a year, who sees juries, knows themes, who has worked on damages, like, to have that person to be able to reach out to and help, like, craft.
Yeah, you'll never be able to have the knowledge that they do because you don't have the time to be sitting in court every day observing what they do.
You can't do it. And that's why, like, I think even just generally, like, whether it's a business owner or someone in the practice, whatever area of practice, they shouldn't be doing it all on their own. That's a major mistake.
No. And I have to say, within the immigration attorney community, it's one of the most collegial I've ever come across, because there's actually no government attorneys. Our opponent is always the government. Yeah. And there's no government attorneys allowed within the, like, American Immigration Lawyers Association. So, like, we're always all fighting or working towards the same goals and on the same side. So we're never going against each other.
Yeah, that's great. We're that's really awesome. I didn't realize that within immigration, you're the lawyer representing the person against the government. Yeah. Does the government have immigration lawyers that are working for them, defending the status of the person who wants to either move to America or get the visa or get the green card, whatever it is?
Nope.
So who is it you're up against?
So the government has prosecutors defending the government, or saying, like, no, you have to prove why you should get this visa. Okay. So at embassies and consulates, the front line is an immigration officer, or at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, when somebody's applying for a green card here in the U.S. or citizenship, your, I don't want to say adversary, but the person who's on the opposite side of the table from you.
I could say adversary. Go ahead. It sounds like an adversary.
Is the immigration officer. They're the one reviewing the file and making the decision on it. In deportation proceedings, you have a government attorney akin to a prosecutor.
I understand now.
Who works for Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Yeah. So we have something similar, like for the plaintiffs bar, right? So like the plaintiffs attorneys, we have different groups, whether it's the Florida Justice Association or it's local, the Broward County Trial Lawyers Association. We're a community where we're able to reach out and say, hey, what expert witness are you using for this type of case? Or what would you do? What steps would you take in this type of case? And there's like a community of people that we know they're not defense attorneys. We know they're not working for the insurance companies or for the big corporations or for United Health or whatever different insurance company there is.
Yeah. So for us, it's just the entire American Immigration Lawyers Association.
Yeah. And that's great. I mean, that really gives you I think it's just a huge help in whatever it is that you're working on.
Yeah, and it's really nice because you can just go on their website and search for, search by topic. Yeah. If you need to reach out to a mentor, you can just search by topic and find people who have signed up to be mentors on those topics.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the only requirement before reaching out to them is that you've at least tried to do your own research first.
Okay. All right.
And kind of like, what steps have you taken to try to figure it out yourself?
So it's like a partner in the office.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Wow. So I still like, that's just an unbelievable story, because it really reminds me of myself. Like, you were there at this firm for 11 years and you just decided, hey, listen, I'm learning a lot, but this isn't my passion. There's the next step in my career, and you took that leap and opened up your own law firm, which again, like I said, it is a lot of risk. But would you trade it and go back, or are you?
I wouldn't trade it and go. I wouldn't trade and go back. I do things differently.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade it and go back.
Yeah, I mean, there's things. Listen, obviously, like you learn along the way as a business owner.
Right, a lot of it is trial and error.
What works and what doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. That is awesome. So tell me, like, because we talked. I want to know. It's funny because you worked at this big law firm, right? And everyone, like law students and young lawyers, sometimes they have that image of being that senior partner and getting the big account and making tons of money. I mean, sometimes the grass is always, people think like the grass is always greener. Right. You worked in the big firm, right? Yeah. What do you think? I mean, is there for the people there? I mean, tell me about it. Tell me a little bit about big firm life.
I mean, big firm life was certainly had its perks and pros and all of that. You had that built-in community. You had those resources, well, pretty much limitless resources in terms of research and things like that. But I think everybody needs to find their own lane. Yeah. And for some people, that big firm life is for them. And like I said, I loved the people that I worked. That was the hardest thing about leaving, was leaving the people that I worked with, because I'd been there so long. And that's one of the firms where when people go there, they stay there for quite a while.
Really? Yeah.
You have people who are senior partners who started off as summer associates, and that's where the only place they've ever worked. So
wow.
It was a hard decision to make, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to start up my immigration practice while having a full litigation, like commercial litigation caseload. Yeah. And I just needed to make the decision that was best for me. Yeah. But I have nothing to knock on big firm life. This is just where my path has taken me.
Yeah. No, and listen, I will forever be grateful for, the prior law firm. I was there for 11 years. Kelly Eustall, and the partners were beyond mentors. They're still mentors. Yeah. I reach out to them. Even one of the partners there I reached out to during this last trial for some thoughts, for some advice, and he was there, and he's always been there. So
yeah, I've had people from my prior firm refer business to me. So I'm glad that I was able to keep that relationship.
That's something else. That's something else that I think lawyers need to know, like especially if they're planning to jump ship from a particular firm. And there are going to be different personalities at different law firms and who you work for. And I think from the very beginning, you want to really find a firm that's ethical, that's responsible, that are just genuinely good people, right? Because I do hear about these things where someone leaves a firm and it's just this terrible falling out, and there's a bridge that's been burned, or there's resentments that are built up. Like I was fortunate. Like I left and they continued to refer me cases, right? And I refer them cases because I know how great of a firm they are. I feel bad, for people that leave on that bad note.
Yeah, I mean, I've had referrals come in from the very top of the firm to associates who have joined the firm since I left. Yeah, who have been told like, "Oh, hey, Christina used to work here. You can reach out to her on this."
Yeah, see, that's good. See, like you left a lasting positive impression.
I like to hope so.
Yeah, and it could have just as easily been, because there's a lot of people that like maybe they're owed a little bit of money and then they fight vigorously for it, as opposed to, hey, maybe leave a little bit on the table or something, and don't burn the bridge, because it's going to come back and pay dividends later on. Obviously, you don't want to get completely screwed over if the firm is being total, jerks. But
no, it was kind of as pleasant of an experience leaving, I think, as there could be.
Yeah. So how did you get into immigration law, just in general? How did it start?
It really started with that class in law school, where I was like, this is interesting. This kind of makes sense to me. And so when I graduated, it was 2008. height of the recession, competing against attorneys who have experience. And so I paced myself at first, because at first, after I graduated, I was like, okay, well, focus on the bar. Because if you don't pass the bar, then finding a job means nothing.
Yeah.
So focus on the bar. And then after I took the bar, before we got results, I was like, okay, start sending stuff out, but you don't know if you've passed the bar yet. And then once I passed and was sworn in, that's when the full-blown like campaign of I really tried to find a job anywhere, because like I said, it was 2008. And so any firm that did anything that I could possibly remotely be interested in, I applied to, and crickets. And then by the end of 2008, rolling into 2009, I realized, okay, I can't let this hole in my resume grow bigger. Like if I go for a job interview, sure, I can explain up until October when I got sworn in. But October to now, like I can't say I've been watching soap operas and eating like chocolates. So I reached out to one immigration law firm, and I said, hey, I'm licensed. I'll even like intern for you. Like I just need to be getting experience. And met with them. They ended up hiring me, but I knew I wanted to do immigration. And so that's why I was willing to kind of take that leap and that risk in that sense of, okay, maybe I, just kind of intern, but at least I'm doing something, I'm learning. Yeah. And that started that path. And I was there for about 2 years and just really enjoyed everything that I was doing. And, the time when we got client wins and like running up and down the hall, like cheering for the client, that kind of just all solidified it.
Those are good feelings. Those are good wins. Those are huge wins. We whenever we would get a verdict in my old law firm, because we're a smaller firm now, but my old law firm had these stairs that would lead up in like the main hallway. And I just remember it, I think like the first time it happened, but I came back to the office and the entire office was there. Yeah. Everybody was there. And I'm talking like 30, 40 people just clapping, going nuts. Yeah. And you walk in with the client, you know what I mean? And you just got this verdict. The client's thrilled. Like everyone's clapping, go up, and it's like everyone's going to hang out, talk about it, the stories. Like those are just like people don't know. People don't see like that side of lawyers. You know what I mean? They don't hear about that stuff.
Right. I think because we're always supposed to come across as like so sure and stoic that like, maybe when we have these big wins, they don't affect us as much because we're supposed to be so sure of ourselves. I don't know what it is, but like, and being a solo, I don't have anybody come back to the office to with that, but I do have that, that group chat of other immigration attorneys, or even being able to share my wins on social media and have people who follow me comment back and just, giving me kudos. Yeah. Not that I do it for the kudos, but it just helps reinforce that I did something good for somebody.
Oh, for sure. You got to let people know about the wins. Yeah. You got to let people know about the wins because they need to know that like, it's not like you're not just like patting yourself on the back. You're just showing that like, hey, your hard work paid off. Right. Your hard work did something good for somebody else. Right. Right. Because like you can like we do it all the time. We can put God knows how many hours into a case. You know what I mean? And it's like, you want to at least let people know, hey, everything that we did, like we did what we said we were going to do. We provide exceptional service. The client's thrilled. We're thrilled.
And even from a personal injuries perspective and with immigration, the outcome of the case affects this person's day-to-day life. Yeah. And like my most recent immigration trial, you put pressure on yourself because if it doesn't go, even if you do everything right, but it doesn't go your way, because in immigration, you can check all of the boxes, but like in a deportation trial, the immigration judge still has the ultimate discretion to grant or deny. Yeah. And so what if it doesn't go right? And what if this person who has spent the last 50 years in the United States is now deported back to a country that they haven't been in since they were 6 and know nothing of? And it's not just their life, but it's the spouse's life and the child, their child's life, and all of these lives affected by what you do. So when you have the wins, it feels more profound because you feel like you really did something good.